is everyone today? Hope everyone is doing well so far as we enter 2026. Already some highs and already some absolutely awful lows. Don't even know what's going on in the world these days. It's just, can we get a break? Can we not get a break? Oh, anyway, I guess we can only focus on what we can control. And there's certain things, well, I don't know if anything is ever out of our control, but it's going to take the collective to change it. And I don't know if the collective is even ready for that, because I'm just horrified watching what I've seen in the last 48 hours. And I will get into that at the very end of the podcast, because this is a royal podcast, not a political podcast. But there is something that I would like to say, having a platform about the Venezuelan invasion, the Nigerian invasion. Just this should not be allowed and should not be happening. But let's stick to our usual programming first, shall we, with the royals. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for, as always, being so patient with me. Oh, don't know what happened to my slide just there. Do hit that thumbs up button and subscribe button. Let's see who's in the chat. Do we have any new names or names I don't see often? Brianne Bourne. I feel like I don't see you often. Hello. Are you a silent listener? Tara Lovett. Hello. Emade 4112. Annie Bennett, I think you've been a regular for a while. Maybe I just don't see you that often. Maybe it's because I've changed time zone. Tony Marie. Anyway, thank you to all the newbies, the oldies, and the usuals. Love you all. Appreciate you all. And so let's get into the main story of the last 24 hours in our royal world. Harry, it would appear, will likely get security in the UK following a risk assessment. Now, I think that most of us predicted that this would happen. And we had very good reason to believe that it would happen. And I said that if Harry did get security, it would not really be for the benefit of him. It would be very self-serving for the royals, the UK, and the UK government. And I believe, ultimately, that is why Harry has been given security. And I suspected this around the time when Harry came for Well Child, and there was also a meeting with the UK branch of communications for the Sussex team that leaked. And I also believe that William was very annoyed that he did not get access to whatever was said in that meeting. I believe that there has been games being played between Buckingham Palace and the Welleses. Sorry, give me. Had to clear my throat. And here we are. Right, let's have a read of this. And, you know, the tabloids, nobody wants Harry to come more than the tabloids do. Also, while Invictus does try to take as much of the cost as possible for the host city and the UK still would have had to invest in Invictus, right? The hope being that people come into town and pour into the economy, the local economy. Hotels, restaurants, you name it. Local services. That's why you invest in these types of events. And then you also hope that if you have high profile figures, that brings attention too. And who is more high profile in the UK than Harry and Meghan? However, before I read this article, let me just say, if Harry does come, and I'm just going to keep it real, I hope he doesn't come with Meghan and the kids. Because I'm feeling petty this year and I don't want the tabloids to get nothing. I know Meghan, of course, would want to support her husband. I'm sure Harry, of course, would want his family there. But for the sake of pettiness, I'm sorry. I hope Meghan and the kids don't come. And more importantly than pettiness, of course, for the sake of security, because I do not believe still that Meghan and the kids are safe. Last time when Harry was here, that stalker was still able to get close, a known stalker. Now, I don't know why, if there's any laws, perhaps that individual has not been identified, because she was in a public area, she was photographed, maybe even on film. She's known to Harry and his team. Why don't we know who that person is? I don't know if there's any laws protecting your privacy if you're a stalker, but I find it interesting that the media will report on everything Harry and Meghan. Surely they know who that person is, and they haven't told us who that is. And the fact that that person was able to get so close to Harry, I think on 2 occasions, a person that's apparently traveled overseas, that's how much this whoever this is following Harry and Meghan. I mean, if Jamois can go all the way from the UK to Los Angeles to look at a bottle of jam, how do we know this crazy isn't going to try and attempt something? And then you got NAZIs working right at the heart of Buckingham Palace. I do not believe, even if this goes through, that Meghan and her babies are safe. Harry can risk it. And I think he'll be okay to come. I don't think Meghan and the babies will be safe to come. It would be huge. It would be the defining moment for the UK of the year, because Meghan just running the UK at this point remotely while minding her business. But I don't think it's safe for Meghan and the kids. And they've proven, the UK authorities, the police, they've proven that it's not safe. And so why should they get the benefit of having Harry and Meghan's presence here if they're not going to be fully safe? Anyway, here we go. Let me read the article. In early December, the Home Office finally agreed to do a security risk assessment on Prince Harry. Harry had repeatedly requested a risk assessment for years because nothing had been done on that front since 2019. In early 2020, the Sussex family security was suddenly yanked, most likely as a punishment for Harry's lawsuits against the press and his demands for an investigation into Prince William's staff. When the Queen was alive, she created a makeshift security arrangement for the Sussexes, but after her death, Harry's father has blocked Harry from receiving any kind of police protection for any of his visits. That's what all of Harry's many lawsuits were about. And ultimately, those lawsuits failed because the courts backed up the King's position. Well, of course, because of the King's courts. Democracy where? And Ravek's position that Harry doesn't deserve security just for being a high-value target for extremists and terrorists. Well, according to the Daily Mail, the Home Office has decided that Harry is deserving of protection. Now, mind you, the last time the Home Office had this conversation, Priti Patel, that raggedy witch, was the head of the Home Office. And Conservatives were in power. So I think that would have also, now that Labour are in power, not that Labour are doing an amazing job, of course, but I think that probably has also contributed to the shift, because the last time we were having this conversation with the Home Office, Priti Patel was saying there's no story here, there's no issue here. So according to the Daily Raggedy Fail, Prince Harry has won his fight for automatic taxpayer-funded armed police protection when he visits the UK. You know, the fact that the Daily Mail actually sound like they're telling the truth tells you that they're probably telling the truth. It's probably the first time I've believed anything from the Daily Fail. According to a ruling in the Duke's favour expected to be announced within weeks could allow for a reunion between King Charles and his grandchildren, Archie, Lilibet, who live in the US. I mean, we'll see about that. Sources close to the Sussexes, or there are no sources close to the Sussexes, told the Daily Fail that the reinstatement of armed security has been assured. Okay, so do you know what I think has happened here? I don't think there's any sources that are close to the Sussexes that have spoken to the Daily Fail. I think this has already been decided, and somebody within the royal fold or security services who work with the royal fold have already gone and leaked this to the Daily Fail. The decision to reassess the risk followed a letter the Duke wrote to Home Secretary Shahbar Mahmood in September, calling for such a reprisal. His lawyers have argued that the withdrawal of security has left his life at stake. So an actual spokesperson for the Sussexes said, "We cannot comment on security matters." A government spokesperson said the UK government's protective security system is rigorous and proportionate. Is it really? Is it really? It is our long-standing policy to provide detailed information on these arrangements, as doing so could compromise their integrity and affect individual security. I mean, apparently, the same guy scaled the fence of Kensington Palace twice just recently. So Harry has no illusions, I think, about this. I think he understands completely that his father and his father's courtiers have put the Sussex family in real danger for years. And Charles would continue to do so as long as people were covering up his activities behind the scenes. So now that Harry put it in the Home Office's hands and went public so dramatically last year with the BBC interview that he did, I think now it's more difficult for Charles's people to keep screwing Harry over on the security issue, because now everything is on the record. And that's the beauty of Harry taking it this far and even taking it to court. Even if, like I said, I don't believe he's ever actually really safe, they cannot rewrite history in the future as they have done with his mother. I also believe that the previous Tory Home Secretaries, okay, no. Yeah, it's interesting that this hasn't gone anywhere until there's Labour government. And I think also, like I said at the beginning, they want the Invictus Games to come to the UK. Of course they do. Of course they do. Birmingham definitely need it. Okay. Let's go to your comments and then we'll move on to the next thing. Hi, if you're just joining us, by the way. Oh my gosh, Carol Land, 38 months of membership. Thank you. Thank you so much. You are so much appreciated. Honestly, guys, memberships especially really, really help because they're reoccurring. So if you want to join memberships, please do either for YouTube or buy me a coffee, whichever. Whichever is good for you. Links are in the bio as always. Personally, you said Harry and Meghan don't trust the British media or monarchy. Nope. Cannot be trusted. Heather, you said Harry restored security must be to benefit the UK. He can't help it if he can't travel safely. Exactly. This exactly. Boney, you said no amount of security can make Meghan and the kids feel safe in the UK and the royal family. That pipe is always leaking. Yes. And not only that, just the crazies. Okay, let's get on to the next thing. Because some of these people, it's like you're not okay. You're not okay. You need assessment. You need help. it's giving in the most ethical way possible. Can we bring back asylums, please? Because what even is this? So I try to stay away from talking about the troll communities and their leaders in this space, because I just don't want their attention coming into my space. I've managed to create a platform where it's, and also with the help of the mod squad, where the trolls just don't come here. And you don't want to attract the trolls by talking about their leaders, which is why I rarely do it. But this just couldn't be ignored because this is a different type of crazy. So this troll that you can see on the screen, I'm not going to say her name, but she's quite big in this space. She's been photographed with Kate before. And I believe actually when Harry came back for his court case, she decided to roll up to the courthouse. When Harry came for his court case, you know what I did? Stayed in my house. Because what are you going to see exactly? It's not an appearance to promote any type of cause or Harry and Meghan's brand. So girl, why were you out of your house at the courthouse where Harry was, while all of Harry and Meghan's fans were at home minding their business? You were outside of the courthouse. Now, she did this segment on her YouTube or on a live or something where she's trying to count how much Meghan has in her inventory for as ever. Like, can someone please make this make sense? Because I don't even know what this is. Why would you be obsessed with wanting to know how much inventory Meghan has? Like, she's got the backing of Netflix. I'm sure she's got plenty of inventory. They're expanding internationally. Why do you care? You're not a fan. Or maybe you are, a confused one. So just listen to the absolute craziness of this lady.
So this is insane, guys. So I'm just going to share this right here. This is my current cart, believe it or not. So I have, let's see how many, 4,000 some odd or 40,000. Yeah, I have 44,000 orange marmalades in my cart, guys, right now. And
so basically what she's done is she's gone to Meghan's website. I can't play the video because I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike. And I believe this person would be petty enough to do that. But what she's obviously done is she's put 44,000 in the number box where you put the quantity that you want. And then she's also gone and done that for the signature fruit spread gift box. And so the cart ends up, you're going to hear her say it, the cart ends up saying 6 million. Now, I don't know if there's a cap on the amount that you can order at a time. I don't necessarily even know if that's a reflection of how much inventory. It's quite surprising that the cart would even show that. Most online retailers have some kind of cap. Maybe that's a glitch for the As Ever team to look at. But if anybody was to actually order that amount, you can't return it. This is why I'm so glad that there's no returns. Because people like this would actually place a high order only to cancel or return it and try to mess up accounts. But maybe that's something that Sussex team needs to look at, because I've never seen any type of e-commerce website where you can put 40,000 and then it will show in the cart 6 million or whatever the amount was.
137,000 signature box spreads. Yeah. So guys, we are talking, I don't know how well you can see it. Sorry, I'm working on a much smaller like computer screen, so it's even harder for me to tell. And so if you pull it up right here, we're going to expand it. So guys, I have $535,000 worth of orange marmalade in my cart and almost $6 million of Megan's signature food spread. She has $6 million worth of food spread right now in her inventory. So this is insane, guys. So I'm just going to share this right here. This is my current cart, believe it or not. So I have, let's see how many, 4,000 some odd or 40,000. Yeah, I have 44,000 orange marmalades in my cart, guys.
I mean, my question is, what exactly is she attempting to do here? Is she trying to encourage her followers to go and buy Megan's marmalade? Okay, so Megan has a big inventory. I mean, Netflix is her partner. Like, yeah, they've probably got a massive warehouse now and they're having to pump out more product. Like, what exactly do you want us to do with this information? You're just reinforcing what we already know, that Megan's brand is incredibly successful. In fact, it's people like you that have been trying to convince us of the exact opposite that you're now showing on your computer screen. So it's like, what do you want us to do with this information that, as far as we, the fans, are concerned, we already know? And that's why I say these people are confused fans. I have not seen what I don't know any squaddy that has done anything like this. Why would you even think to do that? And again, what do you want us to do with this information? Okay, Megan's got thousands in inventory, which equates to millions, and people are going to buy that, and she's going to make more money. Okay. You want me to do what with this information exactly? You want your followers to do what with this information exactly? Like, I'm actually just confused at this point. I'm just confused. Like, what was the point of all of this? You prove that Megan is actually very successful. Okay. Tell us something we don't know, girl. Tell us something we don't know. These people need help. And he said, I honestly hope they don't go to the UK. I mean, Megan and her babies. Yeah, because listen, people like this, if Megan brings the kids, all of these types need to be on a watch list. They need to have an MI something officer literally following their tail. And they shouldn't be allowed anywhere near. Because what even is this? Traditionally said they want the Sussexes in England to write more lies and sell more papers. Yeah. I mean, they can do that when they're not in England, but if they are, then they'll be writing the lies and then doubling down on the bullying. Lola Love, you said, if San Diego is awarded the Invictus Games after Birmingham, I believe Megan and the children will attend because it's California. I definitely don't believe Megan and children will be at Birmingham. Well, that's if San Diego gets it. And I think that I don't know when they're going to announce actually for whoever gets to host that Invictus, but I'm wondering if how the World Cup goes in the United States determines whether or not they will get Invictus. Now, I know that Gavin Newsom, who is what do you call them, senator of California at the moment, is a supporter of Harry and Meghan, but there's obviously going to be other factors that contributes to whether or not Invictus can be held in the United States. Trump has put a passport ban on some countries. Now, Nigeria was the first to join Invictus, the first of the African continent to join Invictus. I'm sure they'll want more from the continent. and other nations that Trump has put sanctions on. So you might have a situation where individual countries literally cannot come. You don't know how hostile the situation will be in the United States. You've got ICE running all over California and other places. Some people just might not want to come, period. So I don't think that in San Diego will get Invictus, if I'm honest. With the current situation, I'll be surprised. I'd be very surprised. Okay, let's go. Hemi fan, you said Harry shouldn't bring Invictus to the United States. Oh, thank you, Lola. The governor. I get confused. Governor, senator, is it the same thing? Is it a different thing? Isn't the World Cup going to move to Canada from the United States? I don't know what's going on with that. Honestly, I believe there's actually a lot of match fixing and weird stuff that goes on at the high level of football. Anywho, let's get on to the next thing. Yeah, that's the weirdo and their weirdo-ness of the day. Now, apparently, and because they can't just be normal and get an Uber, the Royal helicopter is being is really getting used. This story popped up. Hang on a sec. Oh gosh, I thought I had actually saved this. Oh, now I've got to look for it. But yeah, the two new helicopters which came to the Royal Household Service last year. Now, please tell me why they needed 2 new helicopters. 2 new helicopters. Why did they need 2 new helicopters? Unbelievable. So apparently they've already flown the equivalent of 58,000 miles, traveling twice around the Earth. How? The Telegraph analysis shows the 2 choppers notched up a total of 420 hours of flying time. That is insane. How does that even happen? Well, let's have a read of this article once it decides to load. Okay, so 2 new Royal helicopters that came into service earlier this year have already flown a total of 58,000 miles, the equivalent of traveling twice around the Earth. The Augusta Westland, used by senior members of the royal family, racked up 420 hours of flying time between February the 25th and the end of November, so of last year. The Princess Royal, who consistently carries out many public engagements all year, appears to have made the most use of the new aircraft. With her Gatcombe Park home in Gloucestershire, the most frequently visited destination with 68 stops according to flight data. Now, you all keep telling me that Anne is the most hardest working royal, doing her 50 million and 21,000 appearances that nobody knows about. So she's basically getting to fly around in a helicopter to show up and do appearances and create no impact. No impact apart from the impact on the British taxpayers' purse because they're paying for all of this. This is the very definition of doing everything and nothing. Everything and nothing for nothing. These so-called royal duties are useless. I don't know who benefits from this other than Anne getting to fly around in a helicopter and feel very important. Because all of those appearances and all that mileage, and I still can't tell you what she did. Neither can you. In fact, neither can royalists. The Princess of Wales, who made the environment a key plank, the Prince of Wales, who made his the environment a key plank of his work, has also proved an enthusiastic user of the new fleet, with 47 stops made in Windsor and a further 5 at Forest Lodge, the family home he moved into in October. The data suggests that the prince flew by helicopter to multiple jobs each month, including a referee training course in Warsaw, a women's rugby match in Exeter, and a visit to the England women's football team at their training base in Staffordshire, a homewards job in Sheffield, and an Earthshot job in Norwich. On November 25th, the Royal helicopter flew just under 500 miles from its RAF base to Forest Lodge before taking the prince to his first stop in Wales, then on to Hordern Airport, and then Lanundo South before flying back to Forest Lodge and back to base. When the Princess of Wales visited a wellbeing garden at Gloucester Hospital on July 2nd, her helicopter made 7 separate journeys, totaling 390 miles from its base at RAF Odiham to Windsor, then to Merville Barracks in Gloucester, then Merville Barracks to Amner Hall, the Prince and Princess's private residence in Norfolk. After what appears to have been a refueling stop at RAF Marham, it flew back to Windsor 2.5 hours later and finally back to its base. Jesus. So they also flew on Armistice Day. To some of their joint engagements, to watch matches. They also flew to Southport via helicopter to meet the families. So you flew via helicopter to meet families that probably can't even afford to heat their homes this winter. Now, they did actually travel by train here and there and made sure that they were photographed at every opportunity just to show. In fact, they were photographed more on that 1 or 2 train journeys than they were with the helicopter journeys, right? Remember the big deal they made because William and Kate held hands at the train? You saw more coverage of that moment than you did of all these helicopter journeys. Funny how the paparazzi and the press are never around to take pictures of them getting off their helicopters when they're doing all this floozing around. It was announced in June 2024 that the royal household was to take delivery of 2 new leased helicopters to replace 2 15-year-old aircrafts, and was committed to maximizing they've been maximizing. Committing to maximizing using a helicopter. I want you all that have never flown in a helicopter to say that sentence in your head right now, or say it out loud if there's no one in the room. Maximizing the use of a helicopter. To be that rich and privileged. They're making sure they're maximizing it, of course. Yeah, I mean, the article is actually pretty long. It goes into detail. It goes on to costs as well. Almost 1.1 million. And their excuse for this is, it allows the royal family to undertake multiple engagements in a given day. Well, what impact are those multiple engagements creating? Absolutely none, other than a £1.1 million bill to the British taxpayer, and it's probably more than that. Disgraceful. Utterly disgraceful. So you got the helicopters, and then you've also got the homes. The £1 million homes. The homes that keep becoming our forever homes, and we're hopping around to different homes that the British taxpayer are apparently paying for. I'm not even going to read this article. But basically, Rebecca English did a very, very long piece in the Daily Fail where she talked about Harry and Meghan, of course, but she also talked about William and Kate. And apparent concerns about their isolation. Now, if Rebecca English is flapping her gum and semi-leaking, there's something going on. Mind you, all of these tabloid writers, they all know the truth. This is Rebecca English's safe way of saying it in the Daily Fail. maybe this is a threat to William and Kate. Oh, you better stop that lawsuit that Harry has coming in a few weeks. Stop that lawsuit, or we're gonna start dripping some details about concerns about your isolation at Forest Lodge. Why would there be concerns? And the fact that they took Forest Lodge, and what is it, 140 acres? 140 acres of public land that were being used and enjoyed, while Kate is in for the whole of 2025. Every season, a few weeks or months too late, actually, we had videos of Kate telling us to go out in the nature, only for them to take away the nature. Oh, I'm sure there's absolutely some concerns about what could be going on at Forest Lodge. Because why did they even take that home in the first place? Give me one sec, folks. Okay. Next thing. Yeah, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, I don't think that. Did I have anything else important to say? No. Daily Fail is apparently saying that Meghan is going to release a cookbook. I mean, the idea of Meghan releasing a cookbook, I mean, that's just an easy guess, to be honest. Of course, she's probably going to release a cookbook at some point this year with all of the ingredients from the With Love Meghan series. Anyway, I just wanted to end by saying, what happened in Venezuela is disgraceful. What the United States military and government are doing is disgraceful. I don't think anybody is a fan of Maduro, but this has been going on now for decades, where just so happens that countries that are very resource rich, mineral rich, praying for perfectly innocent people that are going to be caught up in this. Venezuela was already struggling as a nation. And now my heart goes out to anyone in a war-torn country, because it's all about profiteering from resources, but also there's the whole military complex. It's all about profiteering. It's more about profiteering than it is about so-called liberation. Because when you understand the mechanisms of war, in some instances, you've got entities even funding both sides just so the war can continue. I think that sooner or later, Americans will have to take drastic action against their government. And this isn't like a left versus right, Democrat versus Republican thing. I think at this point, it's just a very politically neutral issue that we can't, as a global human race, allow this to continue to happen. My Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has also been completely spineless in the face of all of this. A former human rights lawyer himself. You wouldn't believe he was. And we also saw a similar thing happening, that Nigeria, they've been threatening. If they go after Nigeria, one of the biggest economies in Africa, that would be devastating for the whole of the African continent, actually, not just for Nigeria. and apparently even threatening Greenland. I mean, Greenland is it's not a brown country. So I don't think could they get away with going after Greenland the way they have in the Middle East or of Africa? I don't know. That would be very, very bold. Anyway, I pray for peace. I don't know where this is going to go, but it seems like everything we saw in the Middle East is just going to be that whole cycle again in Venezuela, and that is going to create again another refugee. That this is not just what has happened in terms of them trying to go after the leader of Venezuela, causing chaos on the ground. This is going to cause another refugee crisis, another one. Meanwhile, they're not even allowing people over the border, but you just created another refugee crisis. Dear, oh dear. Anywho, I couldn't not do a podcast without mentioning it because a lot of you were mentioning it in the comment section last time. I didn't say anything about it at the time, but I wanted to give it space here and give you space to say something about it if you wanted to. Bonnie said they did deny the Nigerian guy entry to Canada Invictus. Oh dear. Well, Trump has made exceptions for athletes who are attending sports in the in the US. Like I said, if San Diego is awarded, I can understand people not wanting to come. That's an interesting point. I actually did not know that. Well, I'm sure they want events to be held in the US. But it's will the athletes want to come even if they're allowed in the country? Oh, Himi Van, thank you for answering my question. Governors are over states. Senators serve in Congress or the state legislators. Is that fascinating? American politics is. I'm just going to get a few comments, folks, and then we'll wrap things up. Thank you as always. Annie, you said, what the rules call workers outings on the UK taxpayer. Yeah, ridiculous. So World Cup is still being held in the US. Well, if they're giving it, making sure that the athletes can actually get into the country, then that's great. Lady T, so they step out of the castles and that's considered work. Apparently so. I mean, I'm sure they consider the fact that they breathe work because they are, after all, anointed by God, as they believe. Family is a bunch of caricatures. Listen, I feel like the more we come into the more time passes and every year that passes, it just gets more and more crazy and out of sync with what's going on in the world to have this royal family. And this is where I think the other royal families have really understood, listen, let's just scale down the nonsense. The kids have to go to school, they have to go to uni, take less money, be more normal, make your own money. You've already got the privilege of centuries and millennia to have this wealth. They've literally got more than enough wealth to keep generational wealth in their family for the rest of their for all the generations to come. So why do they need to take more money now? I would even be less bothered if they just said, you know what, from this day forth, we take no more money. Because it's not like they don't have generations of wealth, stolen wealth, to live off of for the rest of their lives. Or do they? Because we still don't have good enough transparency on royal money. Sometimes it feels like they're just there's no money. Because why do you have Charles running around with cash money bags? Why are they taking money from weird foreign entities? Unless they're just so greedy, they've got money, they're so greedy, they want more. I guess wealth can be an addiction. But do you need more on top of all the wealth that you already have and have access to? Do you really? It's greed at this point. Do you really need to be hopping around in helicopters? For what? Helen, the next thing we'll hear is that they will be on the move from Forest Lodge to Royal Lodge. That wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me one bit. Yet another forever home. And watch the backlash that comes when that happens. Deborah, you said Duchess is not going to allow her babies to go see Charlie. Charlie had plenty of time to fly over and see them children. If it meant that much to him, I think so too. Especially in light of Harry's court case and how unsupported the royal household have been. In fact, they have been in bed with the very same tabloids that both Harry and Meghan are going to court with. I'd be very surprised those babies get to see him. I don't know. I know that Harry always wants to do the right thing. But Charles has made it very clear he never wanted to protect those babies. Indeed, Venezuela was sanctioned by the US years ago because it wanted to trade its oil with others. It was not yeah. So they want to put a stop to trade with other countries so they don't profit from the oil themselves, and then they want to come in and take the oil. Similar thing happened in Zambia, actually, where I'm from. Well, I think it was it Reagan and gosh, what's her face? How could I forget her name? Iron Lady Thatcher. Reagan and Thatcher put sanctions on Zambia for supporting the apartheid struggle. And Zambia, I think, is the second largest, one of the top 3 copper reserves in the world, by the way. Top 3 copper reserves in the world. And so when they put sanctions on Zambia, that affected the economy greatly, because I think at that time it was a huge percentage of Zambia's national income, GDP, copper. But I think it's also just a reflection on the international community and the way things work. Oh, one person, one bully says, oh, you can't take resources from this one, or we're going to have a problem with each other. So then one country has to suffer because of what another one said. So what? Nobody can get oil from Venezuela or do business with Venezuela because the US said so? It's like, how do these things even work like this? It's insane. I'm very scared for Greenland too, because anyway, Greenland has uranium. I think they've got other rare minerals as well. It's one thing to do that to a country full of brown people. They'll do that easily, without second thought. They've been doing it all over the Middle East and all over the African continent for decades. But to do it to Greenland, I actually think that would cause outright war. Okay. Traditionally, you said, do you really think Tampon wants to see the Sussex kids? I don't know if Charles actually wants to see the kids. Mind you, that was leaked in the Daily Fail. I think it's the Daily Fail that want a picture of Charles with the kids. That's the end goal. That's the end game. Doesn't even matter if Charles likes them kids or not. They just want a picture. That's all this is about. Dawn, you said that's the word I was looking for. Hoarding. It's these people have a hoarding disorder with money. It's pathological. That's probably what it is. Like, I do think that wealth, like, can be like a drug. And doesn't matter how much you have, you still want more. They're obsessed with getting more. They're obsessed with keeping it to the point of paranoia. I think it's Greenland that's part of Denmark, no? Anyway, let's pray for peace, folks. Let's pray for peace. Because this is how we're starting 2026. Oh gosh, what's to come? What is to come? Anyway, we'll have our own little piece of peace, laughs, and joy. As Megan said, always try to create joy when you can. We'll have our own little corner of joy over here at Duchess of Success and over at Baron. Do you know, I haven't watched Baron for weeks. I need to go over there. I'll try and see if I can get in on Baron's next live. I miss you lot over there. All right, folks. Try to take it easy. Love you as always. I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.